My beloved child, let your heart look upon a river quietly passing through the plain. It does not need to strain to prove that it is strong, nor does it need to resist the shape of the land in order to be called free. It simply flows along the course appointed for it, embracing the bends, passing over stones, winding through low places, and continuing onward, clear and steadfast. When the river yields to its path, the water becomes gentle. The riverbed becomes deep. Both banks are refreshed. Plants and trees receive life, and dry lands are visited by renewal. But when the water is blocked, when it tries to force itself into places not meant for it, when it struggles against the land, it rises into waves, stirs up mud, becomes cloudy and weary. So it is with your soul. My child, when you yield to my holy will, you are not exempt from every trial, but you are delivered from inner resistance. You may still pass over hidden rocks, through bends, through narrow stretches that are not easy to understand. But within you, there will be a river of peace that does not come from circumstances. For I myself have spoken in Isaiah 48:18, that if you had paid attention to my commandments, your peace would have been like a river, and your righteousness like the waves of the sea. I know there are times when you think surrender means losing the right to live, as though obeying me means your soul must be suffocated beneath a foreign will. But child, my holy will is not a chain. My holy will is the riverbed that leads the water to the sea. What I desire from you is not cold submission, empty, lifeless, and loveless, but the trust of a child who knows that the Father does not lead them toward destruction. When you stop trying to row upstream by your own strength, you will begin to recognize that my hand had already arranged many things before you even prayed. A person arriving at the right time, a door opening after a long silence, a word of counsel touching the exact wound, a delay turning out to be protection, a loss turning out to prepare the way for a purer blessing. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds you to trust in me with all your heart and not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge me, and I will direct your paths. Do you see? When you trust me in each step, what seems scattered will gradually be set in order. The pieces you did not know where to place will fall into position, and you will understand that your life is not drifting by chance, but is being kept within the intention of heaven. There is a story I want you to remember. The story of Jonah. I called him to go to Nineveh, but he chose the opposite direction, boarding a ship to Tarshish, far from the place where I had sent him. He thought he could run from the calling. He thought the vast ocean would be enough to hide his disobedience. But you know what happened? The storm rose. The ship was shaken, and the very path of escape became the place where he learned that no one can find peace while going against my holy will. Even so, I did not leave Jonah in the deep. I sent a great fish to preserve him, not to destroy him, but to bring him to prayer, awakening, and return. From the belly of the fish, he cried out, and I heard. And finally, when he obeyed and went to Nineveh, the whole city was awakened before mercy. My beloved child, that story is not only about a man running away, it is about a God who still pursues the one going astray with grace. If you have ever rowed upstream, if you have ever become exhausted in a storm created by your own resistance, know that I can still turn the deep place into a place of return, turn mistakes into lessons, and turn delayed obedience into a door for great mercy. Therefore, O soul loved by me, do not view obedience as something grand that only happens in solemn moments. Obedience is not only when you stand before a major crossroads and choose what is right. Obedience is also the breath of each day, the quiet yes offered in very small things. When dawn opens the door and you do not yet know what awaits you that day, but you still say, "Father, I place this day in your hands." You are stepping into obedience. When you want to answer hurt with sharp words but choose silence in love, you are saying yes to my spirit. When you could retaliate but choose forgiveness, you are allowing heaven to win within your heart. When you are impatient to open a door by your own strength, but still wait for my timing, you are offering a pleasing sacrifice. When you love someone, even though that love requires patience. When you continue doing what is right, though no one praises you. When you keep your heart pure, though the world invites you to compromise. All of these are small yeses, yet their echo reaches heaven. Do not despise those small yeses, for the kingdom of heaven often grows from tiny seeds. Matthew 25:21 records the master saying to the faithful servant, "You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things." I do not take your hidden obedience lightly. I see when you choose prayer instead of complaint, peace instead of panic, honesty even when it costs you, and my will above the haste of your own heart. Not one act of obedience is forgotten before me. Those small things are like individual stones placed into the foundation of a house. Passers-by may not yet see the house rising high, but I see the foundation being made firm, and only what is built on the foundation of obedience can stand when rain falls, floods come, and winds blow. I want you to understand even more deeply that true obedience does not rob you of who you are. It does not make you a pale shadow, without will, without personality, without a voice. On the contrary, it is in obedience that you rediscover the original nature I placed within you from the beginning. Sin makes you think freedom means doing whatever you want. Fear makes you think control is safety. Pride makes you think bowing your head is defeat. But my truth is altogether different. John 8:36 says that if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. True freedom is not chasing every passing desire, but being set free to live according to your identity as a child of the kingdom, loved, guided, entrusted with a calling, and able to walk without pretending to be the master of everything. When you obey, I can entrust you with more, not because I was withholding from you before, but because my love does not place a heavy burden on the shoulders of a soul not yet prepared. One who has not learned to bow before truth will easily use power to build a throne for themselves. One who has not learned to trust me in small things will tremble when entrusted with great things. One who has not allowed me to purify their motives will turn mission into a stage for the self. Therefore, child, every season of obedience is a season in which I expand your inner capacity. I teach you to carry blessing without arrogance, responsibility without bitterness, influence without losing humility. Luke 16:10 says that whoever is faithful in what is very little is faithful also in much. That word is a key of my kingdom. Before I set you on a high place, I teach you to kneel in the hidden place. Before I send you to speak to many, I teach you to hear my voice in solitude. Before I entrust you with a wide field, I teach you to tend the small garden right before your eyes. So if today you are in a season where I ask of you only one very simple thing, do it with all your heart. If I tell you to wait, wait in peace, not with clenched endurance, but with faith that the one who holds the timing is also holding you. If I tell you to let go as one who knows. The Father's hand never leaves you empty. If I tell you to forgive not because the wound does not hurt, but because you do not want the chains of bitterness to determine your future. If I tell you to walk even though the road ahead is not fully lit. For Psalm 119:105 says that my word is a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. That lamp often does not illuminate 1,000 miles at once. It gives enough light for the next step. So you may learn to trust me step by step, day by day, breath by breath. Then you will see that every time you say yes to me, the sky over your life seems to open a little more. Circumstances may not always change immediately, but your heart will change. Not every hardship disappears, but the burden of resistance within you becomes lighter. Not every question is answered at once, but my presence becomes an answer greater than all you do not yet know. When you yield to the current of my holy will, you will no longer live like someone always struggling against the storm. You will live like a river that knows it is being led toward the great sea. You will go farther with less weariness, grow deeper with less agitation, become clearer without needing to display yourself. Others will come to drink from the peace within you, perhaps without knowing that this water was born from countless times when you quietly said to me, "Yes, Father." So today, my beloved, lay down the oar that has been hurting your hands. Stop fighting the currents I am using to bring you to the right place. Lay your heart down before me, not as one defeated, but as a child returning to the Father's wisdom. I do not lead you to make you small. I lead you so you may become what I created you to be. I do not invite you to obedience to take away your joy. I invite you to obedience so that your joy may be made complete. I do not ask you to bow your head to strip you of dignity. I teach you to bow so you may stand firm in glory. Say yes to me this morning. In this choice, in this word, in this waiting, in this love. And when those small yeses are joined together into a life, you will become a river of grace in dry land, the heartbeat of heaven in a weary world, a child who knows the way to the sea because you have learned to flow according to the Father's heart. My beloved child, you often seek restoration, like someone waiting for a great sign to resound across the sky, as though every wound can only be healed when there is thunder, lightning, and a moment that makes the whole world turn and look. But I want you to quiet your heart and understand that many times what is holiest comes in a very still place. New life does not always begin with shouting. Sometimes it begins with a lighter breath after many heavy days, with peaceful sleep after long nights of restlessness, with a morning when you wake and realize your heart is not sinking as deeply as it did yesterday. I once spoke to Elijah, not in the strong wind that tore the mountains, not in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in a still, small voice. Child, I often still come in this way. I do not need to shake everything around you to prove that I am near. Sometimes I simply place a very quiet peace within your heart. And that peace itself is the sign that my hand is at work. You may not yet recognize it, but I am restoring you little by little. I am loosening the knots grief tied in your mind. I am touching the memories you once tried to avoid, not to cause you more pain, but to remove their power over you. I am joining again the tangled threads in the tapestry of your life. And though today you only see the underside of that tapestry, with tangled threads, confusing colors, and dark streaks crossing through it, I see the whole picture from beginning to end. Every season you have passed through, every encounter, every goodbye, every tear, every time you thought you were being set back has not been outside my understanding. There are things I did not create in order to hurt you, but I have the authority to redeem them and make something good. For my word has written, we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. Not everything is good in itself, child, but in my hands. Even broken things can be used to rebuild your soul. Therefore, do not despise hidden seasons. Do not think I am absent simply because you do not hear an immediate answer. A seed lying in the ground may seem silent, but within it the shell is cracking, making room for roots to go downward before the shoot rises upward. What I do within you is the same. Before you see flowers, I care for the roots. Before you see fruit, I heal the soil. Before you step into a new place, I change the way you see yourself. I am teaching you no longer to live from the reactions of your wounds, but from the guidance of grace. I am making you able to distinguish between my voice and the voice of fear, between my promise and the condemnation of the past, between what you lost and what I am preparing. When this work is completed in my timing, you will look back and realize that the years that seem buried were truly the season in which I was nurturing a life deeper, more enduring, and more pure. My beloved, do not try to return to what I have allowed to close. There are doors that close not because I want to make you poor, but because behind those doors there is no longer life meant for you. There are relationships, habits, old dreams, and images of yourself that you keep holding like a familiar cloak, though they no longer fit the person I am making new. The old season has taught what it needed to teach. It has fulfilled its purpose. Do not dig up what I have buried in search of life. Do not try to kindle a fire in ashes when I am calling you toward the dawn. Just as a tree must let yellow leaves fall so the sap can nourish new shoots, your soul must also learn to release what has completed its season in order to receive what I am giving. I am not inviting you back to an older version of yourself with less pain. I am inviting you into a new life that is deeper and more sacred. Remember Lot's wife. When I sent angels to bring that family out of Sodom, the command was not only to leave the city, but also not to look back. Yet her heart was still bound to the place I had said to leave behind. And a single longing glance revealed that her body had moved, but her heart had not yet been set free. Child, there are things that cannot enter the future while the eyes remain fixed on the old place. I do not tell that story to frighten you, but to teach you about complete deliverance. Some people have come out of pain, but pain has not yet come out of their hearts. Some have escaped the old place, yet still carry the old sentence, the old voice, the old fear like luggage upon their shoulders. I want to free you not only from the place that wounded you, but also from its pull upon your soul. When I say, forget the former things, do not dwell on the things of old, it is not because I make light of your history, but because I continue to speak, behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Do you not perceive it? My child, the new thing I give is not a reward reserved for those who have never failed. It is a gift of grace for the one who is willing to open their hands. But there are souls who suffer not because I refuse to heal, but because they do not dare believe they are allowed to be healed. They cling tightly to the sentence they have written over themselves. They repeat the words the world once spoke over them as though those words were the final decree. They believe more in their sin than in the cross. They believe more in shame than in the blood poured out to cleanse them. They bow their heads before the memory of failure and forget that my son bowed his head upon the cross to declare, "It is finished." My beloved child, do not make your wound into a throne. Do not let the past sit in judgment over your present. Do not call yourself by a name I have not called you. I do not call you rejected. I do not call you ruined. I do not call you unworthy. I call you my beloved child, the redeemed one, the soul I still tenderly hold in my hands. Perhaps you still ask, Father, how can I dare to receive restoration after all I have done, thought, and missed? Listen to me carefully. Restoration does not begin with you proving that you are worthy. It begins with you believing that my love is greater than your unworthiness. When the prodigal son returned, before he could even finish the confession he had prepared, the father ran out to embrace him, kissed him, and commanded that the best robe, the ring, and the sandals be brought to restore his place as a son. The father did not deny his child's wandering, but neither did he allow that wandering to become the child's final name. That is my heart toward you. I do not wait for you to make yourself clean before allowing you into the house. I invite you into the house so that my love itself may cleanse you. I do not stand at the door with a ledger of debts in my hand. I stand there with a new robe, with a feast, with a call to return. So lay down the sentence you have placed upon yourself. Lay down the if-onlys that have exhausted you. If only you had been wiser. If only you had been stronger. If only you had not trusted the wrong person, chosen the wrong road, missed the opportunity. Child, those words can teach you if you entrust them to me, but they will imprison you if you keep holding them like chains. I do not deny responsibility, but I also do not want you to live your whole life in the prison of self-condemnation. Scripture says, "There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus." Let that word enter the deepest place of your soul. No condemnation does not mean there is no learning, no growth, no correction. It means you no longer have to live under the hammer of accusation. You are allowed to rise. You are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to receive the new life I paid the price to give you. Open your heart, my beloved, because I do not only want to restore what you once had, I want to do within you what you have never known. I want to open springs in your wilderness and cause the dry places in your heart to flow with life. I want to lead you into lands where you once thought you were not clean enough, not strong enough, not lovable enough to enter. I want to teach you to live no longer as someone asking permission from the past, but as one sent by the Father in freedom. The old has passed away. Behold, all things have become new. This is not merely a beautiful sentence for temporary comfort, but a declaration of my kingdom over a redeemed life. When I say new, no power can force you to belong forever to the old, unless you continue handing it the key. So take back that key by faith. Give it to me. I will open the prison door in which you have lived for far too long. Child, my restoration may already be happening, even while you still feel you have not changed very much. Do not measure my work by the emotion of a single day. Do not conclude that the new season has not come simply because today some wounds still ache. A scar does not prove that you have not been healed. It proves that you survived, and that I kept you through the battle. One day, the very places that once caused you pain will become the places from which you know how to show compassion to others. The very tears once shed in secret will give weight to your prayers. The very brokenness you thought was only loss will become a testimony that I can rebuild from ashes, make flowers bloom in desolation, and turn a dead end into an opening path. So rest in me, my child. Do not anxiously demand that every answer appear all at once. Do not fear the stillness, for in that stillness, my hand is still weaving, my heart is still guarding, and my Holy Spirit is still breathing life into dry places. Release what is past, not by denial, but with the faith that I lose nothing that can be redeemed. Receive what is new, not by straining, but with the open hands of a child who knows they are loved. I am restoring you more deeply than you think, more quietly than you expect, but more firmly than any human promise. And when the fullness of time comes, you will see that I did not waste your sorrow. I turned it into good soil, into water, into a pathway, into a song, so that from the very place you thought was the end, a new dawn would begin. My beloved child, be still for a moment so your heart can hear what no noise of the world can drown out. Obedience is not a chain that binds you, but the road that opens true freedom. Many people think power lies in loud words, in actions seen by crowds, in resounding songs or fiery declarations. But child, in the unseen realm, there is a sound that makes darkness tremble more than any thunder. the small yet truthful yes of a soul placed under my will. When you choose to do what I have spoken, though, your emotions pull you in another direction. When you follow my word, though your heart still trembles. When you lay down your own will and say, Father, let your will be done, not mine. Then in that very moment, a quiet victory is recorded before heaven. The enemy does not fear a faith that shines only on the lips, but never enters the steps. He does not tremble before religious words spoken and then forgotten when you face a real choice. What he fears is a child quietly faithful, needing no applause, needing no witness, yet still choosing me in the hidden place. For he knows that an obedient heart is soil in which my power can sow great harvests. He knows that when you say yes to me, you simultaneously close the door to his temptations. When you refuse bitterness and choose forgiveness, refuse anger and choose gentleness, refuse the shortcut of the flesh and walk the holy path, the hidden schemes of darkness are unraveled, thread by thread. As it is written, submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. James 4:7. Do you see? Obedience to me is not weakness. It is strength rooted in heaven. Remember Abraham, the one who heard me call him to leave his homeland, his kindred, and the familiar things, and go to a place he had not yet seen. He did not hold a complete map in his hand, was not given explanations for every bend in the road, and did not know beforehand all the hardships ahead, but he walked because he believed the one who called him was faithful. And when I tested his heart through Isaac, the child of promise, the most precious thing in his aged arms, Abraham placed that deep love upon the altar. Child, I do not tell you this story so you will fear that I delight in taking away what you love. I tell it so you may understand that when a soul dares to place what is most precious into my hands, it will discover that I am not poor in giving, nor cruel in what I ask. I had prepared the ram in its place. I kept my promise. I made him the father of many nations. Obedience that seemed like loss became the doorway to an everlasting covenant. Therefore, do not think that when you give something to me, it falls into emptiness. No offering placed upon the altar of love is forgotten before me. When you surrender your own will, I give you wisdom beyond your calculations. When you give me your time, I teach you to step into the rhythm of seasons you could not create by yourself. When you give me your dream, I do not trample it into the dust, but purify it, shape it, lift it out of fragile ambition, and bring it into a deeper destiny. When you give me what you love most, the greatest reward is not merely something else in its place, but me, myself, the one who does not decay, does not change, and does not abandon. There are things you try to keep that will vanish like morning mist, but what you entrust to me will be kept in eternity and transformed into a beauty you cannot yet fully understand today.